Okay, it's time to talk about the next thing. Now we just learned a little bit more of the leaks of the Xbox console and all this stuff, but it's not over yet. But there is a topic that I do want to talk about before we continue on. And this segment I like to call "You're Not Wrong, but."
Xbox edition.
Yeah. And so when we heard about the new console, this possible console coming out in 2024, it does kind of ring a bell of this is Xbox dedicating themselves to a digital-only console, which we saw in some leaks that the next console might be just digital-only. And so this will be Xbox first console ever just going digital-only, no physical thing about it. And what I wrote in my notes is that maybe PlayStation and Nintendo will be making that decision too. And this is something that's been talked about for a while. Everybody has said it. Even my friends and stuff say, like, we should be prepared for this because eventually we are going to go digital. Physical is going to fall away. And
we've talked about this years ago.
Yeah, but you're not for the people that say that to other gamers, and you're saying that to me, leave me kind of down below and all this stuff. You're not wrong, but the question I ask is, how do we think the transition is going to feel for us gamers? How do we feel for us? So for me, this will be interesting because if Xbox is the first one to do it and everything is going to fall through, if we're going to be in this next generation where physical is gone, then I guess the question that I'm asking for myself is, okay, so now we are now in from here on out, it's retro, right? Like all physical now, it's all retro. Like you will never see any more physical stuff. So every game after this next gen are all going to be retro games eventually. And that's going to be very interesting. It's going to be interesting where people are going to either, sorry for my squeaky chair.
It's protesting.
Right? Of going out to search for these games. How many people are actually going to go out there and hunt for some of these games that could be something later on, right? Unless Xbox finds a way to bring them back into the forefront in the stores, we don't know. But I'm for me personally, I don't like it. I understand it though, because I already kind of have that transition with Steam, right? Steam is my example of I can handle an all digital world, even though some of those games I have physical of, but I also got digital because they're cheap, and I don't have to pull out my console to go play them, which is, it's convenient that way. But I wouldn't be upset to go get my console out and play those games. I have no problem doing that. But Steam already kind of got me prepared of, I'm fine with these digital games at a price that works for me. I haven't really bought, I would argue I never bought a $60 full price game on Steam. I always get it like on our Steam sales or anything like that. So me, like $5, that's fine. That kind of thing. Yeah. Because
that's how the backlog grows.
Right. Because I think some people have to, I guess, come to a conclusion of like, I don't think Steam is going to disappear anytime soon. So that worrisome of, you bought these digital games and they're going to disappear forever. I don't think that's going to happen for a very long time. I don't think it will ever happen because Steam is, that's their bread and butter. Why would they shut down this ATM machine of people buying their games? But I also think that the other developers want to do that too. They want to cut that physical fat off. Cut
have their own digital store.
Right. And the developers want to cut that middleman and get more money for it. I was actually listening to podcasts on a lot before doing this recording, and someone pointed out in one of the conversations of, for you, Jerron, I'll let you go off of here, of what's going to happen to stores like GameStop, right? Like, what are they going to do now if the next gen ends up happening like that, which I think is going to happen. What's going to happen to them? I feel like stores like Vintage Stock and all those kind of places, I think those will be okay for a little while because they got the retro to hold on to them. People are always going to look for retro stuff. But GameStop, what are they going to really do with the physical line? Like, are they going to try to sell digital with the empty case with the codes in it? Because do you want...
But they're doing that already.
Yeah, actually, a lot of places are doing it already. It's not just GameStop. But GameStop being strictly for gaming is different than, say, Walmart, Target, where, that's not their bread and butter, right?
Yeah, that's just a section of their store.
Yeah. What's your thoughts about this all... It's coming up. So how do you feel about this all digital world that's about to happen soon?
Bruh. All right. So, all right. So we touched on this before in the past, but let's take a step in the Wayback Machine. GameStop was throwing an absolute fit when the Xbox One came out, and there was discussion of an all digital or a digital future. GameStop threw a hissy fit. Then the series came out, and the PlayStation 5 and the digital consoles came out. GameStop threw a hissy fit then, because their model, like you said, their business model relies on physical media that they could sell, and gamers coming and trading that stuff in, getting pennies on the dollar, and then reselling that for about $3 to $5 less than new. And they just scrape all that profit into their pocket. So without physical media for the current or next gen, they are either going to completely fold like a house of cards, or they're going to lean even more into selling all the Think Geek knick-knack stuff that they've been transitioning to for the last handful of years. Because I don't know when the last time you got into a GameStop, probably in the last year or so, maybe.
Actually, it was. I'm not gonna lie. They had this deal for like 4 for $20. Like you get 4 games for $20. They were just having this sell, so I ended up getting a couple PS4 games that I never got a chance to play, and that was, I want to say, it was 6 months ago.
Okay, so but when you were in there, whether it was the mall GameStop or not, you noticed there was also a lot of center displays of a bunch of physical crap.
Yes.
And Funko Pops.
Yes.
Like so many Funko Pops. So
merchandise is really, I think, that's
and
what
they acquired Think Geek, so you have a whole bunch of that crap in there too. So they're going to try and lean on that, like, hey, there's games, but we also got your gamers hang out, decorate your place, and all that other stuff. They're trying to lean more into that, and I don't see it being. I think GameStop is going to have a massive shrink in number of stores. You're not going to have like 20 stores in Oklahoma City, for example. You're going to have maybe like 3 or 4. I think we're going to have a shrinkage there. We're going to have a repositioning. But as far as the consumer goes, they're going to throw their hissy fit. I think it's going to go like this. Hey, next generation, digital. Yeah, I know, digital only. But all our games going to be capped at $59.99. There's not going to be any Nintendo $70 games or whatever like that. All our games capped at $59.99.
So you think they're going to cut price?
I think they're going to cap price.
Okay.
Because they're not really selling their games for $70. PlayStation's slipping those $70 games in. Nintendo has Tears of the Kingdom and testing it, and they're like, okay, gamers will swallow $70 if it's really good. So they're going to start doing that more. I hope Microsoft says, okay, well, we can't compete here, compete there, but we can compete by becoming the Sega Genesis of the new millennium. And why did Sega Genesis support so well? It was cheaper. The games were still just as fun. So it made it for a lot of low income or lower income people, were able to grab those up and still have fun.
Do you think they're going to do not just Xbox, but we're seeing it with PlayStation and Nintendo so far with what they do with their retro game library? Xbox hasn't done it yet because they're sticking with the physical for this console generation, right?
Mm-hmm. You can still play original physical games on
with a select list, right? There's like a select list that works. But when the next one comes, are we going to see some kind of like, I don't want to imagine like another Game Pass but retro games, but do we see retro games in their library that they care about hitting, in a store, kind of like Nintendo Online, where you can play all these games, or PlayStation with their premium, right? Do we see Xbox
where you don't really own it, you rent it?
Yeah, so Xbox hasn't been there yet. Do we see that with their library of what they consider classics for their library of games? You know what I mean?
I think, with previous announced news that the 360 store is closing next year, and games that you can only get on there will be made unavailable, which is not a huge loss, but is a loss. I think they're going to keep their servers. They have the server capability. They could eat those costs a little bit better. So I think they'll keep those servers online for the retro games, for your OG Xbox and 360 games. and Xbox One games to a degree. And this is pedantic of me, sorry folks, but there are still Xbox games that come out for Series and for One. It's just downgraded. They even just have One/Series. So they'll keep that going. I think they will keep that going at least digitally. I don't think they'll go towards the route of you got to pay a subscription to play.
I heard okay, for the subscription, yes, but I heard like the physical is done for Xbox One, and some people are going to stop developing games for the first party for Xbox One.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done it sooner. But
yeah, like for instance, Starfield's not going to play on Xbox One.
It couldn't.
Yeah,
they're not going to pull a Cyberpunk.
Redfall's not going to work on there. Hi-Fi Rush. So I think like the Xbox One is done.
Redfall anyway.
Still though, like that's the first example of them cutting the Xbox One down when it comes to first parties, right?
Yes.
So,
and that to a degree that makes sense. I mean, not counting me, I have an Xbox One S, and that was mostly for 4K Blu-rays. And now that I have a PS5, I don't even touch it for that anymore. But Game Pass, you and I both, have used Game Pass for our PCs, and it works just as well. So I think that's where they can get away with that, with physical, cutting physical out. They have Windows PCs to fall back on as far as digital. And how many years? It's been a lot of years since there have been computers sold with physical media slots on CD-ROMs, and people got used to it. People got over it.
So you're pretty well ready for the transition, right?
I'm ready. I look at it this way, and this is kind of a callous way to look at it, and it's kind of privileged of me. But if I still want to play physical of something back then I go get a back then console and do that. Forward looking me, I don't own a single physical PS5 game. I have a few. I own PS5 games, but I don't have a single physical one. I'm okay. I'm doing fine. I understand the concerns about you're just renting a license. They can revoke that license. They can tear that away from you. Yes, that's the risks one takes with stepping forward into new technology, but they also open themselves up to liability and to bad optics. It would turn out very bad for them.
I'm also prepared for it, and also I'm still collecting physical. So like for me is like, look, I might as well go ahead and get all the physicals I can. So for this next jump, I got what I want out of it, right? Like for PS5, like there's some games I want to probably still get on there physical media wise and everything like that, but I just want to be just prepared to go, just to have those for me personally. For that,
of course,
and that's what I'm doing right now for PS4, because like PS4 right now is pretty dirt cheap on a lot of those games. If you take advantage right now, let this be a warning, right? This is a sign of like if you're the people that really want physical and you still want to stick to it, you better start kind of searching now and not going to search for old GameCube and all that. I'm talking about like kind of start looking for games for your Xbox One and PS4.
This now is the time.
To
for
get
those collectors to collect. We won't see as much popularity with that, though, at least for PS4 and definitely Xbox One. But for PS4 games, because every game that came out is also available digitally still.
True.
So
and a lot of stuff is going to be moved over. Yeah.
True. And part of the collecting buzz is the, rather manufactured or not, the scarcity. So
yeah, it's gonna be definitely interesting, because like I can't speak for other countries per se, but I know that like the big countries are gonna be okay. Hopefully, with the new gen consoles, that people will hopefully this thing will be capable of good Wi-Fi, good connectability. For some, I'm hoping for the best for them.
I hope for the best for a lot of countries that don't have the solid infrastructure that I was going to say America, but that South Korea has, or Japan, or to a lesser extent us, because guess what? The other reason physical is so attractive, with the exception of day one patches, you don't have to worry about having a super fast internet connection. People in rural areas, they can still get their games, the games that they like playing, and not have to worry about, their spotty satellite internet, downloading a 60 gig patch game on day one. So
Yeah.
that's what's going to be the rub right there.
Right, along with the subscription model, right? Because that's one of the going to be the big ones. I think that's where the money is going to really go into, because a lot of people going digital, you either going to wait for some cheap sales, or you're going to go with the subscription route. And this is where they can, if they want to, they probably will. They can definitely take advantage of raising the price, like right now with Sony, right, with raising their price to $20 up on their stuff. Yeah. Xbox could be doing that very soon, and Nintendo could be doing that very soon. As long as they keep it lower than both, they can probably get by a little bit longer before people start, getting together. Like, we see what you're doing there.
Nintendo could get away with raising their price by $5 and still look good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, instead of $20 a year, I just pay $25. Okay, done. You know, or instead of $35 a year, I pay $40. Okay, done. you know?
Definitely have to see if that's going to work out for Switch 2. If the rumors are true about like how the graphics and what they're going to do with it, we'll see if that $30 is going to stay there for a lot longer. We don't know.
The only thing I want from the Switch 2, regardless of all the rumors, better hardware and Nintendo Switch games still work on it. That's all you got to do. Everything else Nintendo does gimmick-wise or whatever like that, cool. But do not leave all these physical Switch owners out in the cold when you switch to a new console. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. Backwards compatibility is still beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, leave your comment down below. Tell us your thoughts about are you prepared for the all digital? Are you going to be holding on? Are you going to go get physical copies now of some of your games? You better do it now. And also, while you're here, you better check out one of these two videos that we have right here for you as we talk about our next segment that you don't want to miss.